Hi, I'm Kwahisi Galladay. I'm the founder of the Sankofa Institute. And one of the reasons why I think that the problem has not been solved in our community regarding the education gap within the black community is that I believe that many people are very afraid to have this conversation. Simply put, it's not very easy to talk about the fact that black children are substantially behind other children of other races across the United States, let alone in the rural areas in Arkansas. And so I believe that makes it very difficult sometimes for people to solve the problems if they're not willing to really talk about the problems. And that's where I want to bring some change. I would like to talk about the issues and bring it to the forefront of different platforms so that we can get to a solution quicker and a solution that will work. I also just want to share a little bit about how I came about the Sankofa Institute. We just want to really talk about how black representation matters, right? So the Sankofa Institute, the Sankofa bird means to go back and fetch it. And a lot of our history has been lost. A lot of our history has been retold. A lot of ways that we have been previously educated in the ways that it comes natural to our culture has been kind of dismissed in academia in different areas, right? And so when thinking of and sitting in my own classroom, as I've been a teacher in Pine Bluff, Arkansas since 2016, I would notice very trivial conversations and arguments that my students would have even as early as the third grade. And this would include things such as colorism and things of that sort. And I wonder, why are we at this point right now? Why is this happening? And I thought it's simply because we have not taken the time to go back and fetch the history and the lessons of our past so that we can learn more about our future. And that's literally what, the word Sankofa means, to go back and fetch it. And that's how we got here. And so when you think about going back and fetching it, what does that look like? What does that involve? Who's involved? What does this concept come out to be, right? And then that comes into our 7 pyramids of education. So we have, over the years, worked and done countless different programs before just deciding to jump full-fledged into a private school. And the reason why is because sometimes when you're in a system and you're doing something different, it can become very difficult to change the system from within. And I tried several years to change the system from within, and I had actually, fabulous results from my parents and my students. And just sometimes it was very hard to break down those boundaries and those barriers with colleagues and people who were above me, who can really see the reason as to why we should have so much representation or a curriculum that centered the children that's made up the majority of our population in our schools. And so this led me to doing Power to the People Incorporated work, which was nonprofit work to a certain extent, and programming that centered the black youth. We had the For Colored Girls Fall Retreat as well as the Black Boy Joy Summer Boot Camp. And these programs centered and had the children around nobody else but those that looked like them and were poured into. And each time it was a very successful event, and it grew each and every year. That stopped briefly due to COVID in 2019. After 2019. So we are hoping to bring that back in the future. And so after those trials and going back into the school system, I finally stepped away and decided, if there's going to be a change, I have to go out and make the change. I have to step away from the status quo and what people have already done, and I have to myself embody Sankofa and go back and fetch the lessons of my ancestors in the past and how we have taught and been taught, and then apply that to today in relevant and modern ways, right? And so that is the essence of the Sankofa Institute. I really hope I answered your question and really was able to give you a great backstory of how we've come to be to this point right now.